Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is JD Wyatt, your Southern Fried gentleman of Southern Fried Sports, coming to you live this evening with this beautiful, lovely panel from the South Florida Tribune. We've got Candy. Let's see if
Hi,
I can
JD.
point. Let's see if we can point correctly. Nope, that way. Steven, Reichel, and we've got George. George, over 40 years in the game, y'all. 40 years in the game. And so this is the Country Club with JD Wyatt and the South Florida Tribune. And guess what time it is? It's time to fire up your fryers. All right. You're not above getting cooked over here. We've got fresh meat. Fresh meat. Who knows who might get cooked tonight? We've got some interesting questions. And I am holding an interesting book from Scott Morganroth. He wrote this book. He also has 40 years in the game. I guess you could call him our fearless leader at the South Florida Tribune. So y'all make sure to check out my new beautiful picture and my new beautiful bio coming up on the South Florida Tribune, as I am now the co-host of this show, and I am excited. I am ready. Should there be replica trophies? How much have you ever sold something for? We're going to talk about it all. Don't let the Braves get hot either. That'll come up on the show. And so, Candy, we got Joshua, we've got Cyberuski. I'm sure we will have Madcraft, Kane, all of those loyal listeners coming in. We appreciate you all. But Candy,
Yes.
can you tell anybody about this book? What am I getting myself into when I open this up?
Yeah, you got a personalized autograph copy. Something special.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hey, I didn't get no autograph copy. What's up with that? Really? Seriously? Yeah. Really? I had to drop it.
Yes. It's a book that...
As a matter of fact, here, Candy, I'll read it. We get real here on Southern Fried Sports sometimes and fire up in the Country Club. Listen, we're going to get to sports talk for sure. But I got to pay homage to why I'm here. And I wouldn't be here without you guys. Steve, George, Candy, all of you. I wouldn't be here without you. So my personalized letter says, JD Wyatt, written on June 14th of 2021. I don't know how Scott went back in time. I'm just kidding. It says 2025. I'm joking.
He's joking.
June 14th, 2025. JD Wyatt, I hope you enjoy the stories and use this book to help you in your media career. Glad you are part of our team. Best wishes, Scott. Honestly, that's the first time I've read it. That's the first time I've read it, Candy. I didn't even read it. So here's my natural reaction. Listen, there's a tear. That means, dude, Greenville Sports Media has done a lot for me. I write articles and stuff for them. We're going to try to work out a deal to hopefully share those articles. And hey, listen, we're getting all warm and fuzzy here on Southern Fried Sports. It's final season. You get warm and fuzzy when you win something like the Stanley Cup Finals. So, Candy, where can we go from here? I'll let you take over for a minute, if you will, while I
will, of course. The South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published that book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning in the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by, yes, our fearless leader, Mr. Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. He hosts every other show on this network except this show. This show is mine and JD's. But yes, Scott wrote the book. It's about his 40 plus years in the industry. And the other panelist, one of the other panelists on this fine group of gentlemen, Mr. George Eichhorn, wrote the foreword to that book. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Go get your book today. All kinds of good stories. Yes. Scott wrote a book.
Mhm.
He should.
Yeah, I know. I just told everybody that. Thank you.
I think he
Thank
misspelled
you,
book.
Captain Obvious.
He's got too many O's and too many K's on book. That
Well,
won't
you know, it
pass.
is
That
getting kind of
won't
late,
pass. That
George.
He
won't pass
said,
Scott's editor.
"Book." Oh, that's funny, George. That's funny. He said, "Book." Like,
Scott likes me
book.
again. Joshua said
What?
Scott likes me again because I made good contributions on his show earlier.
Yes.
Okay. Well, hey,
He did. You were doing good, Josh, on that. Taylor Phillips. Hey, guys.
keep up the good work, Josh.
Hi,
Keep up the
Taylor.
good work. All right. So, Candy, where do we start with all of this sports talk? All right. We're going to put the warm and fuzzies away. We're going to fry up something or fire it up if you like, cooking over a fire. Either way. Candy, where do we go? NHL? You want to go NFL?
We might as well start with
Where
the
you want
finals that's already done. Yeah, let's start with the finals that's already wrapped up and done. Because, there was a pretty bow on this trophy, but yet they're having fun with the trophy.
Yeah, I heard one of them took him to his neighbor's house. Took the cup.
They've
to
been
his
knocking
neighbor's
on
house.
doors.
5 a.m. You better hope I wasn't an Edmonton fan.
I mean, if it's a Florida Panther player's neighbor, there's a pretty good possibility there's not an Edmonton Oilers fan.
Right.
As a Philadelphia Flyer fan, I'm absolutely disgusted, and it makes the Sergei Bobrovsky trade even more sickening to me.
Yeah, you should
But
be.
even if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, at 5 a.m. you get knocked on the door and you get the Stanley Cup is in front of you. Like, how often do you get to touch the Stanley Cup? I mean, even if you are a fan and you go to like the NHL All-Star game and they have it there, you can't touch it. Like, they don't want you to touch it, but here's the trophy, touch it, hold it, kiss it like everybody else does. I mean, how many people have kissed that trophy?
Well, not a lot,
I don't-
but more than you'd be surprised because they take it all over the place. So what I heard today is it's damaged. Okay, so whatever knucklehead Panthers has it right now, you damaged it. You damaged I heard the bottom of it is bent, and so is something near the top of the rim. Now it's going to be repaired. Okay, but please, if you're in a drunken stupor, leave that trophy alone. Don't get it in your hand.
Let's be
drop
honest.
it.
Let's be honest. The Stanley Cup is the goat of championship trophies.
Holy Grail.
There
Holy
is
Grail.
no argument there. Lord Stanley Cup is at the top.
I agree.
It's at the top. The Super Bowl trophy is isn't a close second, but it's definitely second. It's the Stanley Cup is the best championship trophy that we have of all the major four sports.
Oh, that's a really good topic. What is the best one? Obvious. Come on,
It's not that's not even a question. The Stanley Cup is the best trophy we have.
Baseball.
The only thing you could probably say is an Olympic medal, but that's a singularity achievement, not a team.
Yeah, right. Well, what about the Lombardi Trophy?
I said it's second, but it's not close. It's not
Really. So Stanley.
Listen,
hold on. Because listen, I'm not a hockey guy. I'm not going to argue with you here. I'm shocked. This is shocked, JD. I am shocked.
What the
I am
football
not a
guy
hockey guy.
loves
I'm not a
Stanley
hockey
Cup?
guy. I know you're more of an NFL guy. You don't hear people that often give a good, honest opinion like that. Listen, if you put the Stanley Cup first, it's, you know what I mean? It's first in your opinion. That is your opinion. You are entitled to it. I'm just shocked. Like, I honestly thought that you, of all people, would have put the Lombardi.
Taylor, I apologize. That was my bad.
That was okay. Yep, that's okay. Yep.
It's all good.
listen.
But I do want to
Hey,
say that
even Josh knows it's a
if you win
fact.
the Stanley Cup, it's okay to touch it. You just have to be careful.
Yeah,
Right.
Don't
That's-
drop it. That's all.
Like seriously, all right.
Be smart.
We'll have to debate for a second. What would you put as number one if it's not Stanley's Cup?
Taylor. Okay, so Taylor, get in on this conversation because honestly, I think I don't know. I guess I'm not saying for myself at this point because I guess I'm reacting from like a complete fan perspective because that's what I am of most of you guys here. I'm fans of y'all. So in my fan perspective, see, like I literally was just shocked you didn't pick the Lombardi Trophy as the most coveted trophy.
I'm
I
a
think-
football junkie. Don't get me wrong, right? But when you talk about like, listen, you're talking about like, I have a fake replica right here, right? Okay, this is a little
there we
fake
go.
replica. How does this compare to a Stanley Cup trophy that you have to hoist over your head with two hands? You're just holding a little trophy.
I was going to add, no matter what trophy, you have to be careful with it, whichever sport.
I mean, didn't the Chiefs dent the Lombardi Trophy several times over the last few years?
I think they did. I think they
Did
did.
Kelsey drop it
Because they're not careful.
when they went to the White House? Like, come on. Listen. I love all our sports, but when you look at it, World Series is a special trophy, but it's just a bunch of flags on a pedestal. Like, should I get excited about that? That's third in my opinion. No, basketball's third. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put baseball down at the bottom. I'm sorry, George. I know I know you want to rip my head off, but
no, I was gonna say.
Wait. What was the original question? Is there question? What's the best
so
trophy?
the original
What's the
question
hardest
was
trophy?
what is the best
Yeah.
Big Four sports championship trophy? I'm saying it's Stanley's Cup.
Well,
Okay.
hold up. Hold up. Time out.
The Lombardi Trophy second. I have the NBA title third, and I have Major League Baseball in the basement there.
Okay, and then let me call a timeout.
I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry. I know.
Don't be sorry.
I'm waiting to get my head ripped off.
We're all entitled to our opinion.
Exactly. That's what we said. So hold on, let me call a timeout. George, we'll come back to you if you got anything more to say right here.
He does.
I do.
So okay, so we just introduced Taylor Phillips. Also, by the way, we need to go through and we'll get everybody's follow handles and all that stuff here in just a second after we finish up this conversation. So it initially started with NHL and the Panthers winning and knocking door to door at 5 a.m. And then we started talking about the trophies and what were I was shocked to hear Steve call it the best trophy, the Stanley Cup. And then now we were talking about what were the four best. But then now the main question that we'll get to is you both have all said we should be careful with the trophy.
Yes.
So I want to lead it to that question. Should we just give them replica trophies to begin with?
No. Because you're devaluing giving the player, the player, the coach, whoever, the joy of actually having the trophy.
There are actually two Stanley Cups. There are. There's one in Toronto at the Hall of Fame Museum, and there's this one that gets rotated and given to the team that wins. There's two. I've not heard anybody say that there's two of any other of those trophies. I don't know. But one thing I do know is regarding the pennants on that World Series flag, I don't think those signify anything. Because when I was younger, I thought, wow, that's cool. The Tigers won in 1968, and I was 12 years old. I thought, that's cool. Look, they probably are in the order of finish, all those flags. They're not. They're just decorative. Decorative,
That's what
those
I'm saying.
flags.
That's why I have World Series down at the bottom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the best one, I know I'm starting another, and I'll stop after this, really is not these. The Stanley Cup is number one in my mind. The second one is the Borg Warner Trophy given to the champion of the Indianapolis 500. That is an
Ooh.
unbelievable trophy.
I thought we
And-
were just going 4 major sports.
I know.
But listen, we'll take the honorable mention and bring it in there. We even had someone asking, what about the World Cup? We were talking about the 4 major sports here in America.
Okay.
I will take the, a NASCAR rip, Indy 500 rip. That there's all special trophies.
There's a lot of different
As
ones.
we're talking about the 4 major sports in here in North America, United States, however you want to word that. I mean, I get it. A lot of people want to throw the World Cup in. We want to throw Indy 500 in because it racing should always get its love, but it quite doesn't get the popularity both here and internationally. But the Cup is probably one of the hardest things, in my opinion. Like I just seen I just seen Kane in the chat telling me that the Lombardi Trophy is the best. Come at me. I mean, listen. I've already said I love the Lombardi Trophy, but it's just a chance with a football on it. The Cup has teams have won it year after year after year, and it grows and it changes every year. And not only that, like I've said, it's a humongous trophy. It's a big accomplishment. Look, as George was sitting there saying, there's 2 cups. There's one at the Hall of Fame, and there's one that is ceremonially given to each team every year. When we talk about Super Bowls now, we're sitting here, we're about to hit 60, right? That means there's teams that have 60 different replica trophies of the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Right.
I mean, listen, we can debate about this all we want. I'll still stick with, NHL's the best, NFL second, NBA, MLB. Now, if MLB comes back and they redo a trophy at some point in time the next handful of years, we might have to revisit this. But
Right on. Hey, Taylor, what do you have to add, or Candy? Sorry, go ahead. Either one.
Cyberooski, you're wrong there because the payroll doesn't quite give you championships in baseball. If that's the case, the New York Yankees would win every year.
So let me add a couple of little things. The Stanley Cup has been awarded since 1892. 1892.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike most trophies, the Stanley Cup is passed from captain to captain of the winning team. Each player's name is engraved on the trophy. As the bands on the trophy fill up, they are retired and a new one is added, creating a continuous legacy. None of the other ones do that. That makes it very different. Now, when I was asking the question, what was the question? Because there's a very difference between what's the hardest trophy to earn and what's the best trophy, because those could be taken very differently. Mm-hmm. Because I would definitely say the hardest to earn is the Stanley Cup. But it also could be the best.
And that agree too, could all of these words we've used, I think every one of us, and Taylor, I'm going to come right to you after this. We've literally all used the words differently. Like Steve, he went into very vivid detail describing the actual trophy. And so I was taking more of maybe what would be the most prestigious trophy to win. And so we're all have our own opinion about it. And I'm love hearing them all. Larry, Josh, Madcraft, all of these dudes, all of these guys keeping it up in the chat. So Taylor,
which is the easiest? Is there an easy one to win?
The NFL's Super Bowl is the hardest, actually, because
it's one game. It's one game,
right? It is. Yeah, it is one game, but it is the the granddaddy of them all, the Super Bowl. It's almost, people would view this more like a holiday and stuff like that, because it is the biggest sport in everyone's eyes. football in general, whether it's the NFL or college football. So the Super Bowl is the most coveted trophy. The Stanley Cup is the second most. The NBA trophy, the championship trophy, is third, and the World Series is fourth.
Scott was here. He'd probably be snapping out.
Madcraft, he wanted me to show a picture of the World Series trophy. I don't know if we can get a good view of it on my phone there.
I see it.
He
Yeah,
thinks
I-
it's beautiful. And listen, like
I'm not saying it's
That's
not
what
it's
we-
not a good looking trophy. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as far as when you're looking at trophies, right? Now, obviously, the NBA championship is kind of modeled off of what we look at when we see the Lombardi Trophy. If you really look at it, right? But
yeah.
the Stanley Cup, I think, just has it's special. You how big it is, how heavy it is. It has every player's name on it.
Mhm.
You know, you could have you know Gordie Howe's great grandson go there and like go and find his dad's name. It's that's what makes it special, at least in my opinion.
we got Taylor getting some love. We got Joshua Dorr. He says it takes 16 wins
Thanks.
to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, Scott
It's
and
the
I
same in
always
basketball, right? It's the same in
Scott,
basketball.
Scott and I always said that that's the hardest one to win. The Stanley Cup, the hockey players, the Holy Grail, that is the toughest one to win. It is a very demanding sport physically and mentally.
All right, so
I'm still gonna put the World Series baseball at second to me because that's one of my favorite sports, and it is different. It is distinct. I know the flagpoles don't mean anything, but to me, that still would be number two.
I would have to say, like, if we're talking about like when we're looking at the overall what it takes to get there to win it, prestige and things of that nature, you have to go through 162 games, and then wild card, two more divisional championship rounds, and then the World Series.
LCS, yeah, and then the World Series, yeah, that's true. Very demanding. The one thing I'll tell you that I remember is the NBA when Detroit won. Oh my God, I'll never forget this. In the locker room, Isaiah Thomas was infatuated with that Larry O'Brien trophy. It had a beer and champagne stains on it. And I kid you not, go back on YouTube and look this up. Isaiah Thomas was kissing and licking the trophy in the Pistons locker room for the longest time. He was in love with it. He made love to that trophy.
Not just that, like you talk about that. What about when Jordan won it after his dad passed away? When he's sitting there,
Oh
crying? Yeah. Like there's certain memories that we all have watching different players, different teams, get over the hump.
Yeah.
With the Super Bowl trophy, it's Steve Young. It's Steve Young and that 94 Niners team when he finally got his validation and won with no Joe Montana there, things of that nature. I think that was I was 14, 15 years old. I mean, that's ingrained in my memory. I mean, obviously, I can go home around talk about when Nick Foles had it and he's just going wow, staring at the trophy. But it's Steve Young that was a special moment, at least in my eyes. So there's little things that we all attach to those trophies. So.
And somebody asked before about Southern Fried. I think you were talking about security or something like that. The NHL has two gentlemen that are assigned to guard that trophy as many times as they can, but they can't go to every single party and every single bathroom or celebration that they bring that Stanley Cup to. But there's two guys from the Hockey Hall of Fame that wear white gloves. You'll see them, and they're on the ice or watching that trophy constantly. So the NHL does the best job of security, but still, look what happened last night. We heard it got dented and bent already. We should move on, though, right, Candy?
Yeah, I think we should.
We can. So, go ahead,
Oh,
JD.
good. No, all I was gonna say is, George, you had me tickled to death right there.
Oh,
He made love to that trophy. I love it. But yes, we were talking about trophies. We're talking about winning them. So we also have the NBA Finals. So hey, do not update George on the game,
no, it's okay.
ladies and no, I'm being serious. Commenters, y'all be for real. George don't want to know what's going on with the game.
So can I
Respect.
let me just quick address Larry in the chat. This is one show that Scott does not come on because he takes this time off and he lets the rest of his crew do this show. So that's why Scott is not on, and especially tonight. We're headed on vacation.
The monkeys are running the madhouse tonight.
He left the keys to the rest of us.
Hey, we out in the Ferrari right now because we at the country club.
That's right.
You can't go to the country club in a Ford Escort, okay? You got to come up pulling up here nice in your Maserati or your Mercedes Benz.
So I have a question for you, gentlemen. What is the most expensive thing you guys have ever sold or bought?
I defer because I don't want anybody to embarrass me. So, George, man, hey, you give us financial advice. Go ahead, George.
I'll pass too.
Oh, come on. George, we all know you bought a house back in the day for like $50,000. You back in the 50s because that's how much houses cost back then.
Actually, it was even lower than that. I bought our first house in Detroit. Cost us, I think, $31,000 only, and it was a nice house. Now, guess what happened? That was not my biggest purchase because then when we went to the suburbs, we bought in a suburb of Detroit called Warren, Michigan, and they were much higher than that. They were in the $50,000-$60,000 range. So that would be my biggest purchase so far. I never bought a car expensive as that. I usually rented or leased my cars. So, but the house would be mine, the house of my current residence. And that's about $62,000, I think. It's worth more now, though. It's worth a lot more.
Hey, listen, we're not trying to expose you here, but we just know that, hey, listen, I can't buy a house.
Huh?
They too expensive these days, man. I can't do it. I don't know but hey, apparently people can go buy professional teams for $10 billion.
Wow.
What?
Here we go with that.
Yeah. It's about the Lakers sale. That is what the whole question comes down to.
Yeah.
And
Larry,
like I said,
I would never spend that much money on a watch.
I bought a $35,000 truck one time.
There you go.
That's the most expensive thing I've ever bought. Taylor, what about you? What's the most expensive thing you've ever bought? We got George a house, me a truck,
a new iPhone 16 Pro.
I'm Jewish. I'm cheap. It was a used Suburban. It was like $3,000.
I love it.
That's Larry, dude.
Larry, wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
I said I'd never spend that much money on a watch. I'm sorry.
Hey man, I did buy a very expensive set of golf clubs. Unfortunately, it did not make me any better.
My most expensive purchase was a house as well. I have since sold that house, but yes, was a house, and yeah, it was only like $150,000. So,
Listen, when me and my wife first met, and then we're gonna go to the Lakers talk here. But when me and my wife we first met, we were down in Charleston looking to buy houses. Man, you can find them easy, $225,000, and then literally a year later, it was like $300, $350, and then the next year after that, it's like $425, $450. It has just blown up everywhere, and so a lot of people though complain, millennials like me, because you can't just go out and buy a house anymore. But apparently, if you're a billionaire, you can go out and buy the Lakers for $10 billion. So Listen,
And he was a minority owner to start with.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ant owns the Dodgers, and so he's figured out how to defer money. Jeannie Buss is going to stay as the governor for a few years. So, hey, George, Steve, Taylor, what are y'all's overall thoughts? Will this help the Lakers, hurt the Lakers? What are we thinking here with this Lakers sale? Does it mean anything at all?
The only thing we're doing is changing who's the minority owner, especially if you're keeping Jeannie on for a bit like that. I was hoping it was a whole new group, because if I'm a Lakers fan, I'm done with the LaFlop era. It's been an utter waste. You won a bubble championship, and you've been mediocre. You let this dude have the controls the last 5 years, and what has he done? Horrible playoff losses. Brings in his guy as a coach. It still ain't getting any better. Brings in his son for another side show attraction, and then he's picking fights with the media guys because they hurt his feelings. Like, are you serious? If I'm this owner, I'd be like, what can we do to trade to get LeBron out of here now? That's just me. If I was this guy, I just paid $10 billion to go buy this professional team. I want to get rid of the biggest cancer I have on the team, and that would be LeBron James. Listen, he's a top 10 player all time. I'm not going to take that away from him, but as a teammate, he walks off of the floor before bad losses. He doesn't stay there with his teammates, his coaches. He doesn't congratulate the other players. I got to get ready for my routine. You know, it's a long season. That is the biggest crock of BS. He reeked crybaby from top to bottom. I'm not taking away that he's a generational talent. We can't deny that. We can't. He's played almost every position on the floor. He's won multiple championships with multiple teams and helped be a part of building multiple teams. But he is literally at the end of his rope. If I'm them, I'm finding somebody in the top 5 in this draft to make a trade and move some things around and get that guy out of there to bring in the next generation talent there.
George.
Well, the thing, I'm not totally surprised by the amount, of course not. But you got to look at the situation, and I know you're digging real deep on this one, Stephen, and I appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is, if your name is the New York Knicks or the New York Yankees or the Boston Celtics or the LA Lakers, I don't care what cancer you have on your roster or how screwed up your team is, you're still going to get this super ridiculous amount of money for selling that team, because those are the marquee names and the marquee teams and all the media exposure and all the advertising and everything like that, and the television networks, especially the Yankees, create their own network and all this. So I understand what you're saying, Stephen, but the thing is that no, those owners will always get that gravy train. They'll always get the big bucks like that, even if it's a minority or a majority, 51% sale, whatever it is, because that's what happens. The price of these teams keeps going on and on and on, higher and higher. A lot of it is connected with stadiums too, arenas, whether you own that too with the package. Mm-hmm. But these teams here, oh my God, it's like, I agree with you though, Stephen. I mean, they're a screwed up organization.
The dollar amount on it isn't surprising. When we talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, they're a top 3 sports franchise in North America. Doesn't matter if we're talking football, baseball, basketball, or hockey. They are a top 4 franchise. Their merchandise sells out no matter where you go. It doesn't matter what city you're in. We just seen the Celtics sell for what, like $6 billion not too long ago. So why are we not surprised that the Lakers just sold for $10 billion? I mean, you're gonna get your return back. It doesn't matter.
Of course.
JD, you're on mute.
I wasn't talking to nobody. I was just chilling. I was telling my kid to go to bed. That's what I was doing. Y'all leave me alone. Leave me alone. Hey, but no. So I do have a question though. After we hear what Taylor has to say, Taylor, what Give it. Listen, they've given us 2 great responses. Can you follow that?
Well, it's very, very expensive, like extremely expensive. If it's sold, it's sold. It doesn't it doesn't all being sold doesn't always reflect on the team's performance. It depends on other stuff outside of the playing surface, outside of the game, like more important other stuff, like properties, other bills to pay, etc.
Right, absolutely. There's more to it. And so, yeah, my question, I guess, would have been
Even the Celtics, they were sold. They had nothing to do with their performance. The Lakers, another new example.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Well, we've seen the Oakland Athletics move and all this stuff.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah. Go into the money. You got to find the money. And so that was going to be my one other question, though. Hearing
The Red Wings could be next if the Detroit project still isn't finished, because Chris Ilitch is still a cheapskate parking lot king.
How do you really
He
feel?
is.
No, go ahead. No, hey, go ahead. Elaborate, Taylor. I want to hear more.
Because Chris Ilitch just keeps failing to finish properties, such as new buildings and other stuff. Like he just leaves out parking lots and just spends too much money. You just can't do that.
Right. Well, I mean, we saw David Tepper do it here in the Carolinas. He started a whole practice facility up in South Carolina, pulled the plug on it. And then whenever they want to build a new stadium, they want to ask for taxpayer dollars. But they won't give me any free tickets.
We just seen that here in Philadelphia. They were trying to get get the Sixers to be separate.
Separate from what? You mean in the same building as the
Yeah,
Flyers?
because they share what is now the Xfinity Center. It's no longer the Wells Fargo Center with the Flyers. They were trying to get a Philadelphia version of what the Knicks have. A Madison Square Garden where you go down into the stadium, and they were going to knock out half the fashion district in Chinatown, and on top of that, they wanted the fans to pay for a good portion of it. So when they weren't going to get their way, they were threatening to go to Jersey, and a lot of fans here in Philadelphia was like, "Fine, you can move the team to Jersey, but you can't take the name Philadelphia 76ers, where you can go be the New Jersey whatever you want to be." It has nothing, because they were talking about going over to Camden. All right, you be the Camden, whatever you want to call it. There's a mall that's just died up here in the Northeast that they could literally do exactly what they want there and have stores on top of it and everything like that. But it would be perfect because it's right next to where you would go to get on Interstate 95, but they didn't want to do that. So then they wound up renewing the lease. There is going to stay at the Xfinity Center at least for another 5 years, and we're going to start all over again. But it doesn't matter where the owner is. It just there's always going to be issues like that, and it's just the finances of our of our major sports teams are interesting at some time.
So does anybody know how long the Buss family has owned the Lakers?
79?
I was going to say 50 plus.
Back then?
Oh, hey.
Well, the previous
it was like 37 million.
It was 67.5 million. Jerry Buss.
All right, so I was off by 30 or so.
But when he did it as part of the agreement, he took over the Lakers along with NHL's Los Angeles Kings.
Yes, he did. I remember that.
So yeah, 67.5 million for both of those franchises. Now he died back in 2013. His daughter Jeannie officially assumed control of the franchise in 2017 because she was having arguments and ownership dispute with her brothers. And now she's sold it. $10 billion. Good for her. And she gets to stay on.
Mhm. Well, hey, that was going to be my question too, Candy. Now, I mean, perfect segue, obviously. They said they sold a majority stake for $10 billion.
Mhm.
It ain't like they bought the whole franchise.
Right.
So
That's
was
what I'm
that
saying. They
good
only
point.
got-
was it 60%? Was it 75%? Was it 80%? I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that tells me that the franchise was worth more than 10 billion.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
If they
Bus
got a
yeah.
majority
Bus
stake,
family
that
had
means what? That's what
66%.
more than half, right?
Bus
Oh, yeah,
family had
absolutely. Yeah.
51% minimum.
Minimum.
Majority.
Yeah. So yeah, they had to purchase anywhere from 51 to 99%, because if it would have been 100%, that's
Right.
no longer majority, that's ownership.
Correct.
So it was either 51 to 99. I mean, what do y'all think they bought? I want to know.
The
I
Bus-
think it
I
was
wanna
probably
know.
more in the 50 to 60% range.
The
That's what
Bus
I think.
family were to sell its 66% share, is what.
Oh,
Oh, is it? Okay. So that would mean that it's worth what? 19 billion?
probably, yeah.
If you sold 66% for 10.
Right. Right?
Yeah.
Just on that math alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, George, how
Yes.
about that return when you bought a house?
Oh, that would have been great.
How about, hey, Steve, how about that return when you would have bought that Suburban it was? Or was it a Tahoe? Was it a Suburban
No,
or a
it
Tahoe?
was a Suburban. I
Suburban.
didn't. I was not going with the Tahoe. I like my trucks big, brother.
Hey, we do everything big. Do it big.
No,
If you
I
don't-
didn't get that return. I actually, by the time I got rid of it, it wasn't running. So I just basically got what I could for it.
Right.
It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Did
I
you
miss
make sure to click the as is button on the title?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. Hey, Candy, let's hit some comments real quick before we change it up. Candy, we've got P digits. I know
Okay,
these guys were going at it a while ago.
Yeah, they were going
How far
at it for a
back do
good
you want me to
minute.
go?
No, you don't have to go back too far. Let's see if I can find anything. Yeah, Matt Kraft, he mentioned something about the trophy earlier.
Yeah, I seen something. I'm gonna add
He
to.
said,
at
meanwhile,
the end, I
Tom
wanna see
Brady,
what your guys'
Tom Brady is tossing the Lombardi
Yeah,
over
when
open
he was
water.
in Tampa
Yeah.
Bay, he was freaking hammered.
I was
tossing it
gonna
over
mention
the
that. I was
That
gonna
was
mention that, and I forgot.
very careless behavior by him.
Very careless, George. You're right.
I agree. Tampa. Well, that's when he won it in Tampa, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. They're tossing it from one boat to the other or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
Oh
stupid.
goodness. Candy, I can't even. I know I see somebody that said feet pics. Hey, do any of you guys do feet pictures? I don't know what game.
Oh, it depends how much you want to pay me for. You want to see my hairy toes? Speaking of which, I listen. I'm gonna bring up something as we get to the end of this after we go through a few topics, because I just loaded a photo in the back. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this.
So
there is
hey George, I'm sorry though to introduce you to but this is what we get here when we get to go in sometimes, George. Man,
the country club.
Oh, I know what he said feet pics about. Gamecock Chuck said that's the most he's ever sold something for.
Oh, no comment.
Oh my gosh, Gamecock Chuck.
so we can talk about all
Oh,
this
God.
money being thrown for selling. How about the Boston Red Sox? They gave Christian Campbell a contract back in early April, $60 million to play in the big leagues, and now they've demoted him to the minors. April, $60 million, and now they demoted him to the minors. 22 years old. You could give me $60 million. I'd come play.
Listen, they're so screwed up right now. Every time they get a superstar in Boston, They find a way to ruin it and trade him and get rid of him. If I was a Boston Nation guy or lady, I would be so upset right now. You would not see me giving them a nickel at Fenway Park. There's no other team I've seen that has blown it as much as they have in the last 3 or 4 big names that they've signed. Just face it. They don't have a clue what they're doing. I don't care what they say. They can spin it any way they want, Candy.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
he's not wrong.
And you know what? They let my boy go, Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski was the president of that organization. Remember? All of a sudden, he's not coming back. Okay, fine. He did a nice job in Philadelphia. That's fine. He loves it there. Before that, of course, we know he was in Nashville to try to set up a new MLB team in Nashville. I'm digressing here, but all I can say is you brought up the Boston Red Sox. They're not one of my favorites, Candy, at all.
Not one of mine either, but I figured it was.
Didn't they just ran the recent superstar out of town because they wanted him to play first base? I still think he should have attempted to play first base as they figured out an option.
Oh, I do too.
But like you don't push it to the point where he feels like listen, I'm not going to entertain this. I'm not going to be run down by the media here in Boston. Get me out of here. And he winds up going to San Francisco now.
Yeah.
Eric Katz and we had that conversation on Monday on 108 Stitches of Baseball with South Florida Tribune. I think that Devers created himself a cancerous situation, which George, Steve, Taylor, there are dirty C words that we have on Southern Fried Sports. Chemistry, culture, commitment, competition, camaraderie. Listen, I've got more. The list is always ever compiling. Another dirty C word. How about that? I'm a poet and didn't know it. But that's what I think.
Call Candy a C word, please.
No, Pete Diddy's just calling her a Brewers fan.
I know, but he said it right after that quote went up about the Brewers fan, but Candy.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. Candy is a dirty C word because her name is Candy.
I
tell my kids.
Voice, guys, you gotta get
my kids all the time, do not eat candy.
JD, you're digging too deep in that hole you're at.
No, I'm not. No.
I'm
not digging a hole. Y'all gotta listen. We gotta listen. Candy is a dirty C word because she is candy. Guess what I tell my kids not to eat all the time because they'll get cavities.
Another
candy. There are dirty C words everywhere. Anyways, oh my goodness. We went down that rabbit hole.
This show's going down all kinds of rabbit holes.
You're the one that led us to that hole. I don't know.
No, I didn't. But anyway, no, I didn't lead us down that. I started down the dirty C word hole, but they're sports related, family show, eyes up here, everybody. I say it all the time. That's one of my other sayings. But Devers, I think, created himself a cancerous situation. He's not going to play a position or whatever, all of that nonsense. Once you get so deep, I think the Red Sox will still make another move. We had that conversation, though, Eric Katz and he seems to think that it was management's fault. I think it's everybody's fault. It's everybody's fault. If the management couldn't suck it up, if he couldn't suck it up and have a conversation as men, be honest, be open, be kind, what's the point? Taylor, what do you think? Was the Rafael Devers Boston Red Sox stuff? How do you lean?
You're muted, Taylor.
He just wanted to be traded.
So we
That's-
saw
That was all.
what was it? A Jimmy Butler situation?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think Rafael Devers just wanted to be traded, and I think he's more comfortable with the San Francisco Giants.
There was no guarantee
That's
he
it.
was going there. Yeah. Steve, what do you think?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it was his fault, the organization's fault. He was, it's hard to play in some of these large market cities, especially one as prestigious as the Red Sox, and they hold their players to a certain level. And you look at, like, we've been riding Trey Turner all year this year because he's gotten a big contract out of us. He came in, he was supposed to do a lot of things, and he hasn't. And we have some of these other young guys that were going around, and a lot of fans felt that he should move to accommodate when certain lineups is because he can basically play just about the whole infield. And at some point in time, they were like, well, he should, Bohm's struggling. He should play third, and they should move this around and do that. And he's saying, I'm playing the position I'm playing. I don't know what you're talking about. But where they are, they're trying to build a culture to get back to winning ways. And you have this guy that's taking this big contract, and you got a hole down there at first base. I could see why people are upset with him. I think he was in a no-win situation, and he was just like, you know what? This team isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. Send me to somewhere where I could potentially compete, playoff, and see what happens. About potentially winning a World Series, because let's be honest, Boston ain't nowhere close to getting ready to compete for a World Series. So he got himself out. He's in a nice situation there in San Francisco where, obviously you got to compete with the Dodgers out there, but I think he's in a situation where he could at least have potential of playoff baseball where, it's rough in Boston right now. The only competitive team they have is the Celtics. The Bruins are at probably the worst they've ever been in their franchise's history, and the Red Sox are a dysfunctional organization from up top to where they are right now. And I think he knew what he's seen, and just, as Taylor was saying, created a cancerous situation and got himself out of there.
And don't forget your Patriots too. They're having a great last few years, aren't they?
Listen, the whole regime's gone. It's so gone to where the players that was in that regime is now the head coach of the team. Not
Right.
one, but two different players now.
Yeah.
Candy,
Yes.
your thoughts? I know you're on vacation mode back there.
Yes. Well, Devers saw the writing on the wall. Let's face it, Boston, the Red Sox, that whole organization is not going anywhere. So he decided, you know what? Trade me, get me out. Let me go someplace else, because you're going to bring in other. I've been here, and you're going to bring somebody else in and play my position, and now move me. And no. Wait a minute. What about loyalty to the people that are there? Or what about coming to me and and really asking me instead of just shifting me? Like, So he saw the writing on the wall and said, you know what? I need out. This isn't the right spot for me. And so I guess kudos to him, really, like, for knowing that and just coming out and saying, now maybe should have not gone as public. Yeah, probably. But everything comes out. Let's face it, these days, there's nothing that stays private, hardly at all. So, but yeah, kudos to him. I mean, and honestly, probably kudos to the Giants for getting them.
Yeah, I mean who remembered that Buster Posey was the manager for the San Francisco Giants? I loved him as a catcher. Who remembered that he's the manager out there now? I didn't.
They did let Gabe Kapler go. That's right.
Yes.
I could not. Yeah,
One of the best catchers in his era, no question about it. I
loved Buster Posey. I loved the dude. He
high
was
hopes
great.
for him. High hopes for him as a manager. I think he'll be good. Most catchers make good managers. It's happened a lot in baseball history when you look through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And
Facts.
yeah. No, I think they'll do good.
And then, yeah, back to the whole Devers thing and what Candy said. I wish, hey, listeners, P Digits, King, Gamecock Chuck, Josh, all of you guys, y'all are all so smart. Madcraft, all of you, y'all are all so smart. And then even to Taylor and Steve and George, I asked the question: is there some way we can turn loyalty into a dirty C word? Is there a synonym for that word? We'll have to work
leave
on
me
that.
out of it.
Nope, that's our homework. You got homework. Taylor, what you talking about? Leave me out of
Whoa,
it.
whoa, Pete did this. Whoa. No one said he wasn't the best of his time. We said he's one of
One of
the
them, I
best.
said.
One
Yeah.
of.
Digits.
I know my ears are clogged, but I heard George correctly. He
Mhm.
said
That's
one.
right.
Sorry, but I have no suggestions.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
I have no
Oh.
suggestions.
Yeah, I got nothing for you on that one.
Yeah, no, that's why it's homework. That's why you gotta look it up later. Because yeah, we're not gonna all look it up right now, but I bet you there's a word out there somewhere. Anyways, we'll get on to some more sports talk. Candy, what else do we have left? You're the topic queen. You are the queen of the
I
show.
mean, there's a lot of
Well-
stuff going on.
Well,
Go ahead,
wait a
Keith.
minute. We always do one topic on Fire Up, and that's my town. So why don't we go around the horn and everybody can talk a little bit about what's happening in your town. And obviously we all know from my standpoint that the Stanley Cup is being passed around and let's see, the plastic, there's a crack in it now and there's a dent here and but no, let's go around the horn. George, what's happening in your town?
Well, my town, I was a little bit optimistic, and Taylor will back me up on this one, that Detroit was going to be able to take 2 games of a doubleheader. But now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. There was a long rain delay in the bottom of the 9th inning, I believe it was, with the score tied 4-4. And which happens a lot to the Tigers, I noticed. They're not doing very well in the extra inning games. So they spotted 4 runs for Pittsburgh in the top of the 10th. And Taylor, I don't know if it's over with yet, but they won the first game, Detroit did. And 20 games above 500 is nothing to sneeze at. The team has done very, very well. They're going to have 3 or 4 guys on the All-Star team. The division race is very non-existent right now. 9-10 games behind Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City, take your pick. But I think that the Tigers have really proven one thing, and that is Detroit is still and always will be a damn good baseball town. They're buying tickets like they haven't bought in years downtown to see the Tigers play. The place only seats 42,000 with standing room, but they are selling out a lot of games right now. So baseball is back. I know the Lions are still kings of the jungle, but their number one nemesis at the gate is the Tigers. And that's what's going on in my town, Detroit, Michigan.
JD, what's happening in your town?
I'm gonna defer. Taylor, your town, brother.
Well, of course. Yeah, in fact, the Pirates just took Game 2 8-4. But
Thank you. I mean, nothing. Thanks for the update, right?
But the rain delay had nothing to do with it. Before I touch on the Tigers and Lions in general, it was tied at 4 going into the bottom of the 9th inning. Anyway, it was going to be a 1-2-3 inning. Anyway, Jake Rogers was facing a 1-2 count when that rain delay occurred. He had no chance of whatsoever even getting on base because he has such a low batting average. And I'm going to look it up right now, but the Tigers and Lions in general, the Tigers, they're still leading all of MLB. The Lions had that number 1 seed in the NFC, but they just choked so badly to the Washington Commanders at home, 45-31 in the divisional playoff. of course, their defensive unit was so banged up, but their offense kept turning the darn ball over like 5 times. If you're gonna keep up with the Commanders' offense when your defense is so banged up, you better make this a bigger slugfest than this by not turning the ball over. You got to be smarter than that. And that's exactly why the Lions got a new defensive coordinator, John Morton, from the Denver Broncos. And his mission, part of his mission, is to develop this offensive unit to handle the ball better and make better decisions with it. And that's, yeah, just stick more with the run game. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, of course, that's why you stick with more of the run game. That way you'll have less chances of turning the ball over. But really, the Lions should not give up yet. And the Tigers, in general, they have the best record in Major League Baseball, but they have flaws that they need to exercise. They need a better bullpen. Brant Hurter just got the hell beat out of them in the top of the 10th. I don't even care about that close call at home plate. I don't care. Brant Hurter gave up all 4 runs. He's usually better than that. His ERA is 2.33. Jake Rogers, 178 batting average, 555 OPS. Yes, he can play defense, but his bat, as soggy as a sautéed onion. That's the truth. I'm gonna touch even more on that on my podcast, of course.
Hey, and go ahead, bro. Go ahead, finish that statement up. Tell them, as a matter of fact, everybody. So Taylor, and then we'll go to Steve, and then we'll go to George. Taylor, where is that podcast? I want to know. Everybody.
It is called the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. First of all, it detects truth about the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, and Pistons, and Wolverines and Spartans. It's critique and concise criticism, facts, statistics, and research, everything that's true.
Hold on, time out. You just added 2 more dirty C words to the list. Critique and concise.
There you go.
Love it. Keep on going, my friend.
I just put my brain on percolate. I don't even need to think it over. Percolation,
Hey, bro.
24 hours a day.
You told me
anyway.
You couldn't think of no dirty C words, and there you are rolling them off the tongue. Let's go. I love it.
Wow, they just erupt like a volcano, don't they? Anyway, you can find it on YouTube in video form at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Subscribe, turn on all notifications on the bell icon, click or tap on live to find its latest full episodes, and check out our shorts videos. Also in audio form on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music /Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and JioSaavn. Also on social media, you can follow it on X, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Michigan_Truth, and like its Facebook page. Again, shout out to Chris Kozewski, a local friend of mine in Cadillac, for joining its supporters club on Spreaker, just $2 a month. That's where you can find my podcast.
Awesome. George.
I did it from the ground up.
My friend, George. Hey, buddy.
Hey,
tell everybody where you can find you.
You can find me at the South Florida Tribune and locally with the Detroit Downtown Monitor. I write sports for them, and I have for many, many years. So under the contributor section of the journal, the South Florida Tribune, we're going to have my column in there. And at the end of my column, there's always a little tag. Oh, there it is. So Candy put my cover of my book, Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air, which chronicles of 90 years of sports broadcasting in the Motor City. And there's a link to that. Amazon.com is probably one of the few places you can get it. I think maybe Barnes & Noble might have a few left too. But I enjoy watching and following sports broadcasting from a writer's standpoint, from an on-air standpoint. and great to be a contributor here to the South Florida Tribune Network. As you guys know, over 45 years, Scott and I have worked together on and off and all kinds of great assignments, and then his lovely wife and the wonderful photography that Candy takes covering sports. It's been an incredible journey for all three of us. So looking forward to seeing you guys on future shows down the road as well. I can't next Thursday though. Unfortunately, I have a commitment that night at a very important event in Detroit, an installation ceremony for several athletes I've been invited to. So I will be with you in spirit next Thursday, Mr. Stephen and Mr. Southern Fried and Mr. Taylor, while Miss Candy is
We'll
away.
figure something out.
Hey, whoa.
Uh-oh. Did I say something?
How dare you turn us down to go hang out with a bunch of famous athletes? Are you out of your mind? Man, listen, you go have the time of your freaking life, George, all right? Listen to me. Seriously. I mean, hey, I'll cancel myself up here in a minute.
Okay.
If that's what I'm going to go do. So listen, hey, you go have a fantastic time. I know that Kane and Chuck and all of these dudes that are listening will go give George a follow if they aren't already. And like I said, we're having a great time here on Fire Up with South Florida Tribune. So, Candy, Steve, Taylor, George, if you need to log out,
yep.
I know you were on a hard cap. So, you if you want to say goodnight, please give us your best.
What?
Just good night.
Me and
give us
Taylor.
Your best good night message.
I'll give you mine first, and then I think Taylor. Well, I'm not. Hey, listen. Be good, sleep tight, and just have a wonderful, peaceful evening as we watch the final scores roll in, especially that one little game going on right now between a team from Oklahoma City and Indiana. So peace, brother and sister, and a wonderful time for Miss Candy and Mr. Scott. Great to be on tonight. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thanks,
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
George. Hit him with a hang.
Oh, he said ta-ta. Did you say ta-ta? Ta-ta, George. I love it.
For now.
I love it. That was fantastic. That was awesome. Hey, so I know everybody listened, though. Does anybody have an actual score update? Like,
no, seriously? I haven't looked at it yet.
I can tell you.
Me neither.
You want me to tell you?
90 to 62. 90 to 62 Pacers. Ooh, fourth quarter just getting underway.
End of the third is beginning of the fourth quarter.
92 to 62.
Yeah.
Wow.
Game 7 in the NBA Finals ain't nothing like it. All right.
Game 7 and Game 3s, and that's what I'm a big fan of. So, Candy, I don't know even where to go from here. Listen, we've talked literally everything. Well, I don't know. We still got like 40 minutes.
What's going on in my state?
Oh yeah, Steve. Sorry, hey, we got
first
distracted.
and foremost,
we were
Phillies were stinking it up at the beginning of the season. As of right this moment, because they just beat the Marlins 2-1, back to being tied for the NFC East lead, or NL East lead. I'm saying NFC, NL East lead, and the stinking Braves are 10 games out at this point in time. So, rivalry time in Philadelphia is good. And other notes, quoting John Clark here right now, right? 4 of the Philadelphia Phillies starters have the top 12 ERA in the league. Ranger Suarez is 2.20. Mick Abel, he's been giving us some innings there as Nola still dealing with ankle issues. He's a 2.21. Wheeler always dealing. He's 2.76. And pitching tonight was Christopher Sanchez, and he's still a 2.87. The fact that we know that the bats ain't been doing what they needed to this season, that's why they've been in the trouble. I have a feeling they're going to wind up, getting a hold of one of these teams like the White Sox or somebody like that, trying to get an outfielder from them, because that's where they're having problem. Traded for Brandon Marsh a few years ago, and he just as entertaining of a person he is, he just hasn't been working out, and I feel like that we're getting ready to see a trade here. I know a lot of fans have been calling to try to bring in Trout out of the LA there. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think having the extra arms, down there with Abel, Andrew Painter's going to be a pretty good Major League Baseball pitcher as well. Ranger Suarez's contract is up. I won't be surprised to see him moved at the deadline, but I think the Phillies are in a decent position. They have to win a World Series this year, because if not, I think Rob Thompson's gone. They didn't do much moves during this offseason. They were basically going to run it back with the same roster. I think that he's gone, and he's in a little bit of a hot seat because he just ended Nick Castellanos. I think he was 276 consecutive games, and sat him down because Nick gave him some choice words after he was pulled for a defensive replacement in the 8th inning of one of the games this week. So his streak comes to an end, and they apparently since then he's asked for statistics on his base running, stuff like that, stuff that he can kind of adjust things for. The other thing is obviously the Sixers got the number 3 pick, and I don't know if they stay. I don't know if they trade down. I don't know what they do there, but they need a lot of help. All 3 of their big paid superstars spend extensive time on the injured list. Obviously, Joel Embiid. You got B-Ball, Paul George there. He's spending more time on the podcast than anything. Maxey, had an unfortunate injury. Your first round draft pick, winds up spending extensive time on the injured list as well. So interesting to see what they'll do with the 3rd pick there. Then obviously, my Eagles are the defending champions there. Basically been told that now that Jalen Carter hasn't even scratched the surface. He doesn't even really know how to play defensive tackle right now, and what we've seen out of the last 2 years out of him. When people inside the locker room said he still hasn't gotten it figured out yet, and what we've seen him do on the field is pretty remarkable. So I'm interested to see if they can run it back. I know Jalen Hurts has been talking to a lot of these people who have won back-to-back championships in other sports. So be interesting to see what they do. Other than that, hopefully the Flyers do something this year. Other than that, I think that's all that's going on in my hometown at the moment.
So I'm going to kind of, because I know I talked a little bit about Florida, but we all know that my heart really is in Wisconsin.
Yep.
At least with the teams. Let's face it. Mm-hmm. The Brewers today beat the Cubbies, so we're always happy when that happens because we do not like Wrigley North as people. But this game was played actually in Wrigley. So, but the other big news obviously is what's happened lately with the Packers, and I know Jair Alexander is now a Raven. Kudos to him. But one of the other things that people don't know or might not know is that our president, Mark Murphy, there is in the team bylaws that at the age of 70, he must retire. So he is retiring in less than a month, and Ed Policy is going to take over. The interesting thing about that is both Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur, this is 2 years left on their contracts. He is not one that likes or thinks that a manager or general manager should work until their last year of the contract. So this is kind of their prove it year, I think, and what they do. And it'll be interesting to see how the Packers do and then what Ed does in response to knowing that this is his first year with the Packers in the capacity that he's going to be in. So that's pretty much what's happening in my town right now. JD, you're on.
Mute.
Talking to none of y'all again. I wasn't talking to y'all.
Go like this then, so we don't know you're talking.
No, I really was. I was talking to y'all. We're gonna start a game. But
I got one for you since we're
yeah,
between
we'll start a
topics.
game and it'll be one that I lose at, obviously. So how about that? I'll choose a game that I'm gonna lose at. How about comments? We got good comments coming in. Did anybody tell anything about
I got a
their
topic
town?
for you guys, and then there's one more thing I
Okay.
want to add before anything.
Go ahead.
What is the worst sports bet that you've ever made? Betting with a friend, an actual bet. What is the worst one you've ever done?
See, I'm okay, Steve. So obviously, you and I. Let's go. I'll go ahead and tell everybody a story, or I'll tell a bio, if you will. Listen. I can't talk junk. Okay, I can't. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about the Gamecocks this year being a national championship contender or a college football playoff contender. I can't do it. Okay, and I'll tell you the story. Played on a baseball team. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but toot. I was pretty freaking good. However, the team I played on, not so good in high school. So here I am, though. We're down 10 runs. I'm standing at second base, nobody out. And I'm talking junk to the second baseman because he talked junk to me. And I was like, hey, man. He was like, check the scoreboard. And I was like, check it in about 2 innings. I was like, I'm about to score the first run of this game for us. Like, yeah. Nope. I got doubled off at second. Had to trot back to the dugout with my head down. Had to do that walk of shame. So listen, I don't talk crap. I'm a pessimistic fan. You will not see any sun.
Uh-oh. He froze. He froze. Everyone tells me we have the best comments. I would never say that, but that's what they tell me.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
he got
Now
lost
we dropped.
altogether.
Oh.
All right, well,
He'll be back, but yeah.
I'm gonna give you the whole reason why I said what is the worst bet you did. So, came across this nugget on social media where a Eagles fan is in a relationship with a Giants fan. Apparently, there must have been some bet along the lines of what happened last season. So apparently, the bet was a tattoo, and oh my God, is it a doozy? This was the tattoo.
Oh my.
It said, made about my husband that the Giants would beat the Eagles. I lost. It was my time to pay up. First off, being a woman, Candy, would you ever, one, make a bet like that, and two, that would be the ending tattoo that you would have to get to pay off said bet?
No. But that's
I
me.
mean, that's a doozy right there.
That's on her arm too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like the back of the forearm there.
Taylor, do you have anything on that tattoo?
No. This is embarrassing.
Oh my God! Jason's wife seen it and just basically was like, "I have no words."
What was embarrassing?
Oh, this.
Did you not see the tattoo?
Yeah, I did.
So what was not? What do you? No, I'm asking JD here. What was not embarrassing about that? The whole tattoo was embarrassing. Hell with losing the bet. That tattoo has to be one of the worst Eagles tattoos I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I was asking Taylor. He said this is embarrassing. So was it just a tattoo?
To even
you
talk
meant?
about.
He's probably watching the
To
basketball.
even talk about? Okay, well, log out and good night. Salutations. If you
Yep,
got hey, if you got something you want to talk about, bro, we gave you many opportunities.
You
You're
want to talk about
obviously
something? Bring it up, right?
hey,
Taylor, let's talk
yeah,
about it.
hey, listen, hold up, time out. Look, you want to get fried on Southern Fried Sports? This is how you do it. Okay? You want to sit here and pay attention to whatever you're paying attention to, but not complain about not getting an invite? Well, hey, good night. If this is embarrassing, bye-bye.
He's talking to Taylor.
All right. Yes, I know that. Now that you're copying an attitude with me, that I guess I better go. I have to grill my burgers. See ya, Candy. It was an honor. I'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
Yep.
It's embarrassing to talk about the Jason Kelsey tattoo. Hey, what's embarrassing is there wasn't anybody giving him the tush push behind it. Like, what is that dude even talking about, man?
That tattoo is bad. Like bad.
It is.
God, dog. Like, what? What was that?
I don't know. I don't. I mean,
Anyway,
I don't know if
yeah,
you've
we'll
got
talk
a
about that
video,
later.
but-
Anyway. Yeah, sports talk. Sports.
All right.
We'll ignore that. We'll pretend that didn't happen. I'm the Southern Fried Gentleman of Southern Fried Sports. Make sure to hit like, subscribe. Make sure to check out Stephen Reichel and Ben Troop running South Florida Tribune while Candy and Scott are on vacation. Y'all be blessed, not stressed. And I'm not sure what to be embarrassed about at this point other than what just happened. So we'll continue on. And let's see, does anybody have any good comments?
No,
Chicago can get wrecked in every sport. That's true. Man, that's true. Chicago, yep, the best comments. Let's see. Hold on. We'll find something. Let me find a comment. We'll change off of this topic. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah. Hey, I didn't get to do my town. My town, y'all. You know what's happening in my town? I'm living good. Scott sent me a book. I am the new co-host of Fire Up on Thursday nights with the South Florida Tribune at the country club. And we fire up some fryers and we cook fresh meat and we have a good time and we talk random sports topics. And if you want to get into the X's and the O's of sports, we can do that right now. We've got some time left in the show, chat. What do y'all want to talk about? Y'all want to talk about the Gamecocks, Heisman Trophy? Y'all want to talk about two South Carolina quarterbacks, Cade Klubnik, Lenore Sellers, being potential for the Heisman Trophy? Do you want to talk about the Atlanta Braves that were in my town?
How about the College World Series, JD?
Hey, yeah, well, don't let the Braves get hot, which that was one stat I had, as a matter of fact. So far this year, the Braves, they have only won 3 games straight 3 times. They've only won 4 games straight 1 time. And then tonight they swept the Mets. Can they get it back on track? Steve, I hear you laughing. No, I don't think they can. The Braves are toast.
I mean, 10 games is not impossible to come over, but like we haven't even hit the All-Star break yet. We haven't even hit the trade deadline yet. We still got several months of baseball to go. We'll see how it plays out, but the way that they're looking this season, they're going to be exactly where they are right now.
Right.
In third place and not making the playoffs.
I think they might end up in second. I think the Phillies win it all. And I think the Mets might fall off again. It'll be close. But yeah, the Braves.
I mean, the Mets do Met things, so I mean that wouldn't be totally shocking. But being that they basically, since the second month of the season, have been riding high there in first place.
It's
hard to see it, but They are the Mets, but hey, listen, they knocked us out of the playoffs last year. You know, they found the way into the playoffs after a horrendous start last year. They didn't really lose too much of their team, so you still have a team that's intact that had an NLCS bid last year, regardless if they won it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll see how it plays out, but you know.
Yeah. Well, and so Candy, yep, she mentioned it. The last thing for my town, and we're going to transition here, and I think we're getting ready to sign off right after this, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, Candy, you mentioned the College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I told you the other day, Coastal Carolina, they split away from USC back in the 90s. They used to be USC Coastal. Now they're Coastal Carolina. Their mascot is also a fighting chicken, just like the Gamecocks. And I am all bought in on Coastal Carolina. But that LSU Arkansas game last night, if you did not watch it, you missed possibly one of the best playoff baseball games of the year. MLB, college, regardless, in my opinion.
Wow. I mean, I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
Oh my goodness, Candy. So it was like 3-1, and then it was like 3-3, and then it was like 4-3, and then it was like 5-4, and then it was like 5-5, and then it was like over. Like that, it was the most back and forth, and this all happened after like the 6th inning. Like, and the Gamecocks, who won their national championships decade ago now, even more, 12 years ago, they did it the same way. Just like the most clutch baseball. The most like, okay, this is what you train for in practice situations. Bases loaded, 1 out. Okay, like infield in, we're getting the double play at home to first. Things that weren't routine. And then, like I said, they just went back and forth. Arkansas and LSU did. The Gamecocks did it back in their time. Coastal has coasted. So it'll be interesting to see how a team who has coasted through, I mean, they've won 26 games in a row.
Read that. That's crazy. That is I mean, for any team.
They haven't lost since April the 22nd.
Wow. That's crazy good. Like I can't fathom winning that many in a row. Like
Right.
I've been on many different sports teams, but to do
Candy,
that,
I'll ask you this. Can you remember what you did on April the 22nd?
no.
But guess what all those players get to say? We didn't lose a baseball game. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they know that, right? Is that not wild?
That is crazy.
And so, yeah, Coastal Carolina, LSU, Arkansas had the great game. I kind of was hoping LSU, Arkansas would have to play one extra to give Coastal a slight advantage. But, man, hey, what a great sport.
Well, how about Arkansas? They had the no-hitter, right? The third
Mhm.
that was the third no-hitter in College World Series.
Absolutely. Yep. First one, Gage Wood. Dude, I was tuned in, and he lost a perfect game because he hit a dude on the top of the foot. Bro, I'm telling you, if I'm going for a no-hitter and I hit somebody on top, I was a pitcher, y'all. Scott, I hear you, Scott. Scott, he was a catcher. I was a pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Scott, how I would have been mad if I hit a dude on the top of the foot to lose a perfect game. How mad at me would you have been if I lost you that perfect game as my catcher?
Yeah.
What? Like, but it's still a fantastic accomplishment. But then we also we see the agony of results, like the emotion of results, like the purity. But then we saw the agony of defeat. That left fielder from Arkansas missed the fly ball. The shortstop from Arkansas did not turn the double play. You have to know the situation.
Yeah, you do. JD, just so you know, Scott's been listening in. He says you're doing a really good job. Just
Appreciate it. Hey man, hey, listen. I've been reading your book.
Tell him I'm proud of you.
He says he's proud of you.
I can't duplicate your accents, but I'll make you smarter.
Hey, that's all we can do, man. Make each other smarter, help each other out, be kind to one another, be blessed, not stressed. Just be kind to one another. Dang it!
Be kind, rewind.
So I have a question for you guys.
Let's go.
I will never. So this was a quote from somebody. I will never understand how Cal Ripken played 2,632 games in a row. That will forever be the most underrated stat ever in sports. Do you think that's true? Most underrated stat ever in sports.
Me and Ben were already talking about it this week, but go ahead. JJ, what you got?
Most underrated stat in sports. That was the question, correct?
Yep.
I don't know that I could pick one like that off the top of my head. The one that I think I will go to, though, is the one stat that I don't think needs to be accounted for, and that is QB wins and losses. I don't understand why we ever put quarterback. That's one of their statistics, is the amount of team, I get it for pitchers in baseball. I get that. But a quarterback isn't a pitcher of an NFL team. So as I sit here and try to talk myself through this, try to figure out the most underrated stat in sports. Candy, I might need your help to, I think my fryers might be a little low on temperature here. Help me out.
Stephen, what do you think?
Like I said, me and Ben had already kind of touched on this.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about Castellanos' game streak ending, which I'm sure, which is kind of fueled this conversation here. But that is a record that will not be broken anytime soon, not in this era, not in another era. To play that many consecutive games in this day and age, not an injury. Cal Ripken was not on a single solitary steroids list. Okay? So wrap your head around that. So I make fun of LeBron all the time, basically saying that he's the Cal Ripken of the NBA because of his longevity.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Now, Cal Ripken is not considered the best baseball player of all time. And that's why I specifically say that he is the Cal Ripken of the NBA. Cal Ripken, I think he barely had 3,000 hits. Right?
Right. Well, hey, and you helped me out. So, yes, the most underrated statistics. You just said longevity, availability. Availability is the biggest ability.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show up. You got to be there. You can't be injured. And I get it. Players get criticized for being injured. Sometimes you can't help it. However, sometimes you can. I don't know. I'm not going to name any players off the top of my head. I'm not going to do that. But if they had a better diet, a better workout regimen, a better this, a better that, their availability could have been better. And so, yes, longevity, like you mentioned, availability, underrated statistics, Candy. or whoever. That's yep. Thank you. We're cooking. We're cooking again. We're good.
No, but listen, underrated stat, record that no one's gonna sniff at any point in time in the next 10 years. It's a ridiculous stat. Like the only other stat we talk about is how LeBron just passed Kareem in total points. That is one of those ridiculous stats. But LeBron has been playing for 20 years. Up until LeBron, no one has even gotten close to being able to play 20 seasons. So as much as I rip LeBron about X, Y, and Z, about other things about his game, that's one of the things that I give him credit for. That is why he is no matter how we feel about him, his image, his brand, how he goes about things, how he plays the game, etc. He is without a doubt a top 10 player all time. You can't argue that. You can't. You can tear him down by other means, and his recent comments where he doesn't get the ring culture that is involved in the NBA. Hello, ring culture is in every sport. Doesn't matter if we're talking basketball, baseball, football, hockey. It's all about the ring. It's always has been always about the ring. So moving on from that, like listen, I don't know if there's an underrated stat. But that is one of the stats that I think. I remember when Cal was getting there. That's one of my favorite non-Phillies memories of baseball is watching Cal Ripken do that streak. It was a special thing. We're never going to see anyone hit that. Steroid era is over. Wade Boggs used to call it, that's how these guys would continue to keep themselves available on the field and things of that nature. I kind of agree with him to an extent, but he likes to disclude players from that era because of that stuff. That they're not Hall of Famers anymore, etc. I don't necessarily agree with that because a lot of those guys were going to be Hall of Famers regardless. I think the famous thing is that even if you take all 7 of Barry Bonds' MVP type seasons, he still has over 400 home runs. He still has over 350 stolen bases, and not a whole lot of guys have been able to do that. So I get where some of this is coming from, but Kane, I love that one. You sure it's Rodman that needs that record? I mean, I think you're missing a whole era before that. There was this team called the Detroit Pistons, and they were the kings of the bad boys.
The bad boys.
Bill Laimbeer was a feared man. Okay, I loved the Worm, but the Worm was more remembered for his rebounding, and at the end, he was an enforcer for Michael Jordan and other people. He wound up in San Antonio, I think at the beginning of the Duncan era too. So, I mean, I don't think Rodman has the record for that. There's other people that you might throw in there. I know a lot of people like to throw Ron Artest's name in there. I'm like, no. Y'all forget about the bad boy Pistons, but
Kane,
they're not bringing it back, but the WNBA is bringing it back. I got to talk about Sophie Cunningham real fast. Her jersey is sold out, people. You can't go buy it on Fanatics.com. If the WNBA is not the hottest basketball thing that's going on right now, and it's not just because of Caitlin Clark, all those girls deserve credit. Caitlin may be the face of it, but there's a bunch of girls, and yes, Angel Reese is a part of that. She is just trademarked the phrase "me bound."
Me bound.
Okay, we can troll her all she wants. Angel, continue to develop your game, lady. Continue it. We want you to be the Magic to the Bird. We want you to do that. Help the WNBA grow. I was a staunch advocate for women's mixed martial arts 10 years ago when it was starting to blow up. I will be a staunch advocate for the WNBA. Get out of the red. Get into the black. Start putting these things together. And yes, when the collective bargaining agreement comes up, get better referees because the referees are freaking terrible right now. Absolutely terrible. But
But the
No,
referees
here's the other thing.
they're
Everyone
terrible
was
everywhere.
saying Sophie should have been ejected. Do you realize Sophie is a Taekwondo black belt? If she wanted to hurt that girl and put her in a bad spot, she would have. She would have. Okay, so she took it very easy. Did it in a professional way. It may have not looked at it at the point in time, but guess what? No one's talking more about the WNBA than we are right now, and it's because of multiple different women, and I'm all for it. Oh, they still doing it.
We can get the update.
Let's go,
now.
Indiana.
Yeah,
It's final.
Game 7.
Yep.
I'm all for the Indiana Pacers winning. Listen, I love the Oklahoma City Thunder, but Indiana had the Pacers. Indiana is a basketball town. It will always be a basketball town. Let them win the NBA Finals. Let Tyrese Halliburton become one of the new faces of the NBA. SGA should be another guy that should be considered another face of the NBA. Let's push out these old guards and these guys that need their load management and stuff like that, and give us real NBA superstars again. I am so happy that we have an NBA Finals this year that does not include, Steph Curry. That does not include a LeBron James. That does not include a Jimmy Butler or things of that nature. And it's not a major city. It's not an LA team. It's not a New York team. It's two middle of the country teams. Want to know why the NBA was so successful, 10, 20 years ago? You had your teams out in LA. You had your teams on the East Coast, with Boston. And Chicago, dead in the middle, unified the country as a basketball powerhouse. You need the Indiana Pacers. You need the Oklahoma City Thunder. You need the Minnesota Timberwolves. You need the middle of the country to have a big, good basketball team. This will bring basketball back to where it needs to be as one of the better sports, the better 4 sports in the United States. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
No. Listen, I'll segue it. Steven just cooked the NBA and what it's been. They need to get back to the non-major markets. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what I mean. You got to get back to the easy peasy stuff. Defense wins championships. That is the old mantra that literally everybody has lived by for forever. We don't want to see. We do. I can't say we don't want to see it. We want to see all this crazy offense and everything, but it's gotten out of control. There has to be a balance somewhere or another. But the Pacers, the Thunder, Game 7, best 2 words in sports. Candy,
Yeah,
your show. You take it over.
I agree. Game 7s, there's nothing like them. And I want to go back to one of Kane's comments. Does Rodman have the record for most fights on the court? That is a question you should really ask Scott. Scott actually covered and knows Rodman and covered the bad boy era. So he actually has a piece of the floor from the Pistons championship game here at our house. So yeah, you've got to come on one of his.
And I've got his book.
Yeah.
I've got Scott's. I wonder if is there a content back here where I can look up and see if there's Rodman mentioned anywhere?
He is.
No.
I think he is. I'm pretty sure he did mention him in the book.
I bet Rodman's in here somewhere.
He's got some stories. He's got some stories. So definitely. But
Yo, I don't read. But I'm over here reading.
Oh, guys, it's been entertaining tonight. It really has been fun.
And controversial, apparently.
Oh yeah, it's been a little bit of that too. So that's okay. That makes for good shows, right? So let's kind of tie it all in, and let's tie it in a bow. It's time for me to go on vacation and finish packing.
Yeah.
So
Y'all have a safe trip.
thank you.
And yes, let's tie it all in a bow. Steve, do you have anything? Can you?
I do have one final thing I want to touch on that is not directly sports, but our good friend Mr. Ben Troop is doing a autograph signing this weekend. He's gonna be down there in the Chadworth, Georgia area. There's a bunch of guys.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that better not be his cell phone number.
No, that's not. That is JDM Sports Apparel's number.
I was about to say I'm about to call Ben right now. I'll be like, Ben, where you at, bro?
No, this is the graphic for the signing this weekend. Wanted to show Ben some love. So any of our listeners who happen to be in the Chadworth, Georgia area, make sure you check it out. Ben is going to be one of multiple athletes they have situated doing a signing there this weekend. So hit up JW Sports Apparel. Check them out, especially if you're down in that area. And if not, make sure you're tuning in, because we're going to be doing some giveaways between a lot of the programming we have here. I know Ben and Scott are going to be doing some signed books that we're going to be doing some giveaways. We got some signed merchandise that we're going to have some fun with as we get closer to 2K subscribers. We're actually, I think we're pushing closer to 500K views on the YouTube channel. So we're growing, we're having fun, and we're just going to continue to cross promote and grow and have our unique individuals and content creators here on the South Florida Tribune Media Network. And I've already said that we already did the pre-recorded interview with Ricky Waters this week. I just did another one this morning with Irving Fryer. He was supposed to be on Wednesday. Lines got crossed. He apologized. We're going to air that tomorrow at 6 p.m. So, guys, make sure you're tuned into that one. Irvin's an awesome guy, and hopefully we'll have him back on at some time as we get closer to or into the football season. Always having some fun stuff. I'll have some combat sports fighters on over the next few weeks on the Real and the Rare. So we always got something fun going on. We're going to keep the wheels moving over the next few weeks. Candy, y'all have safe trips, safe travels. Enjoy yourself. Don't be jumping on too much just to worry about what I got these knuckleheads doing. We're still going to have some fun regardless.
I'm not worried. I know you the keys to the kingdom are in your good hands. I understand. No problem.
I'll take the keys to the well house. That is Fire Up. You might have the keys to the kingdom, but hey, baby, can you please let me in?
We'll let you in the garage for right now. How about that?
Hey, I'll take the well house, okay? I can find a spot to sleep around the water pump, I think. Somewhere down in the well house.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do another plug one last time. Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by my husband, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. There's a picture of him with a young Muhammad Ali in there. You got to check out the book. It's got some great stories, great pictures. Go get your book, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, click it, like us, share us, and also sign up for notifications, because next week, Steve and Southern Fried, they're going to be popping on. There's going to have shows on. Go see what they're talking about.
Pat Coombs next week. Pat Coombs. Don't forget about that one for 108 Stitches. So we're going to be talking with former Phillies pitcher Pat Coombs.
Awesome.
And me and Steve will be talking next Thursday on Fire Up. Hopefully, hey, listen, I'm going to say it. but hopefully the Southern Fried Chocolate Gentleman can join us. He said it, not me, y'all. When I joined Ben the last time, he said he loved the name, and he said hopefully he can be the Southern Fried Chocolate Gentleman. So hopefully he will join us next Thursday.
I will put it in there for him to see if he's available next Thursday evening, so we can have some fun.
I know Samir was supposed to be on tonight. He apologized he couldn't, but he will be joining you next week, gentlemen. So
we get to make fun of the Atlanta Falcons on top of the Braves. Awesome.
Right.
Yes.
Hey, and we'll love to have anybody here that's have a good time and not call us embarrassing. And as for that, I'm JD Wyatt, the Southern Fried Gentleman of Southern Fried Sports. And the last thing I'll say is bang, bang, good night. Y'all can take it from there.
So Samir's going to be auditioning because he wants to come on Inside the Pigskin. So next week, Thursday on Fire Up is going to be one of his auditions. So
we going to break them in nice.
There you go. Steven, how can people find you?
You can find me, Facebook, Instagram. Just type in that name, Steven Rochelle, StevenRychel. And you can find me on X. That's Steve Sports Talk 1. I'm always engaging with everyone. I give everyone a follow. You only wind up on the blacklist if you don't engage me. That's the only way you get there. I really have fun with everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a Cowboys fan, a Giants fan, a Braves fan, a Mets fan. I hate you in general, but I still like y'all, if you know what I mean. But you can also find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel there, Steven Rochelle. It should be fairly easy to find me. Hell, Scott found me. If Scott can find me, anyone can find me. So, other than that, I'm always on here Monday nights with Professor and the Pupil. This week, obviously. That's taking a hiatus as we're going to do 108 Stitches with Pat Combs. We are also going to be, Tuesday we will have the Inside the Pigskin show. I will find a way to keep our little round table going. We're going to have some fun guests on there. One of the Ben's cohorts is going to be joining us as one of his other podcasts that he does. Wednesday will obviously, instead of during the day, we are going to be on the evening for the Fan in the End, me and Ben Troop. And obviously, as JD mentioned, Thursday, fire it up. We're going to be back and we're going to be having some fun here. So make sure you're locked in. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that notification bell. Do not miss out on anything we do here on the South Florida Tribune Media Network.
Awesome.
And I'll be honest, last thing I'll say, Candy, before you get to say your goodbye for your vacation and end us up is, hey, I didn't have any fun. Y'all embarrassed the crap out of me. I'll get out of here.
Oh, man. With that being said, I'm going to take a much-needed time off and take my husband over the great big pond, and we're going to go on a cruise. We will see you all when we return. Thanks, everyone. Great show.
Good night.